Stampers, it's Eleanor McGarry, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Canada, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make a card using the Soaring Swallows dies and stamp set. These are the images in the stamp set, and the dies that we are going to use today to make the birds look like this. So the birds are going to be made out of several pieces. There's with the body and then the wings. We're also going to be doing a card using the stem and the leaves and the matching blooms to create another card. The first card I'm going to show you is this one here. So as you can tell, the birds have different colors on the wings. I used Coastal Cabana and Night of Navy and of course the white. I'm also going to show you how to use the blending brushes and a Stampin' Spritzer to create this look. As you can tell, it's kind of like a mottled look. There are some of the Night of Navy with some splatter of water. We're going to show you how to do that, as well as show you some other samples. So before we get started, I want to show you the pieces that you will need to die cut using the dies to make each bird. So this bird here is this one in the card, and you are going to need this piece, as you can see, is that one. And then there are two wings, so there's one and there's two that go that way. In this sample here, I cut the wings out of specific colored cardstock. So this is Coastal Cabana and Bermuda Bay, but as I'm going to show you when I make this card, I actually sponge the ink on using the ink pads and the Stampin' blenders. The reason for that is because it's just easy for me to just cut everything in white rather than to have to switch around with colors of cardstock like that. And I kind of like the look of the sponged ink better than the actual cutting out in real cardstock. But you can do whatever you want. The last piece in this is this little piece here, which is this here. So this bird, you need 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces to create that bird. And then the other bird is the one that's swooping down kind of from the sky there. So you would need this piece, which is that. And then there are two wings. So this wing is that one, and this wing is this one. And then each of these wings have these pieces in coordinating color, and that's what these two are. So for the bird that is swooping down, you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. So that's one bird there. And again, the other bird is this one, and you need 4 pieces. So it's these ones. So I'm going to leave that on first for now so that you can take a screenshot if you want of what the birds look like. Swooping down is this set here, and the other bird that's kind of in flight is this one here. So I'll leave that there. You can maybe do a screen capture if you want to recreate this bird, so you're going to know which pieces you're going to need from the dies. So now I'm going to show you how we're going to color in the white pieces here to create the birds. We are going to be using Coastal Cabana and Night of Navy ink, and of course you're going to need your blending brushes to add the color. So the bird itself, the birds, will only have a touch of the Night of Navy on the tail. So let's go ahead and add that Night of Navy. And then the wings are also going to be in Night of Navy. So all 4 wings are going to be in Night of Navy. And then the three little pieces here are this one, and that one. We're going to do that in Coastal Cabana. And when you're done, you're going to get these. So the birds with their tails in Night of Navy, all the wing pieces in Night of Navy, and then the little accents here in Coastal Cabana. Now we're going to glue that all together. So now we're going to do the background for the white layer. The white layer that'll go on top of our card. So this white layer measures 5 1/4 by 4. And we are going to sponge some ink on that and then spritz it with some water using the Stampin' Spritzer to create a model effect. So the very bottom piece of cardstock, we are going to use Balmy Blue ink. We're going to go ahead and use our Stampin' sponges, Stampin' Blends, the blender brushes again. And I've used this with other colors, but if you just get rid of some of the color on scrap, I don't need to worry that this is a lighter blue I'm going to put on the top. Just take some scrap and see how there's no ink coming off anymore. So I think it's fairly safe to say that we are fine going ahead using this blending brush and Balmy Blue ink to apply color to the very bottom of our card like so. Okay, so that's the very first layer of color. The next layer will be Coastal Cabana, and I'm going to change the width of the band of color so it's just a little bit wider than the bottom, just to add some interest to the layout. It's not going to all be the same width. So now we pick up the Coastal Cabana ink and do the same. There you go, and now see how it's a little bit wider than this one, and we're going to do the same this time on the top, even wider than this, but using Night of Navy ink. There we go. There we go. And you don't have to worry if it's not 100% straight on there, because we're going to put ribbon on there anyway, and the ribbon we're going to adhere straight. So now we are going to just spritz a little bit of water onto our ink to create a mottled look. So these are Stampin' Spritzers. I love them. They create just the right amount of blast of water. And you'll see that everywhere that the water has touched, the ink will fade a little bit. So once you're happy with how much fading there is and how much water you've added, you can see it's starting to see the mottled effect there. You can leave that aside to dry because you can't use this right away. You gotta leave that to dry. And what I like to do is I'll put it, because it will bend because it's you've wet it. I put it under a stack of heavy books. If I'm in a rush, I'll use my heat gun to dry it and then let it dry flat over a stack of books. So at the end, it's going to be a straight piece again. So let's go ahead and do that, and I'll come back to you when that's all dried up. So here's our piece. It's all dried now, and it's as straight as I'm happy for it to be to move on with the project. I could leave it a little bit longer, but for the sake of the video, we're going to go ahead. And remember, I told you it doesn't matter that that's not straight, because we're going to cut some gingham ribbon the width of the card or the layer, because we're just going to wrap that around. And as long as you glue your ribbon down straight, it doesn't matter that your line of color on the card is not straight, because it's going to cover it up anyway. So what I like to do is I go ahead and grab a glue dot, and I will just go ahead and add one glue dot right to the center of that line there, like that. And then I'm going to layer this over top so that it's straight. As long as this is straight, that's all you care about. So there we go, as straight as I can get it. Looks pretty straight to me. And then I just tape the ends of the ribbon to the back of my white layer. And because the ribbon itself is glued on straight, no one's going to know that the coloring that you did underneath that was not straight. So there you go, all nice and straight. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to decorate the white pieces now. So the circle is where we're going to have our greening. I'm going to be layering onto that scallop. And what I like to always do is do a splatter of ink on the background. Now I have to tell you, this little stamp here is, I've owned this for God knows how long, 10 years, 15 years even. It's from a earlier Stampin' Up! Set of a splatter stamp, and I have it out on my desk all the time because I like to splatter my projects with a bit of ink in the background. There's many ways of doing this. I like to use a splatter stamp, but you can also flick ink onto there using a toothbrush or many other ways. I like to have my splatter stamp with me. And while this stamp is now retired, there are many stamp sets in the current catalogs that come out year after year that will have a splatter stamp. I know currently the Forever Fern stamp set has a splatter stamp, so use that. I just keep this out all the time. That way I'm not having to search for a splatter stamp in the current catalog stamps that are available. So to do that, I just ink up a little bit, stamp off once, and then lightly tap. And you see how there's a bit of splatter now? I like that look. So totally personal preference. Do it, don't do it. You finish your card the way you are happy with. So I've splattered my circle as well. I am going to go ahead and stamp it with the Thinking of You greeting from the set. Okay, so go ahead and stamp that. And now it's off center a little bit because one of the birds is going to be glued here and the other one will be glued to the bottom. So it looks like I've stamped it off to the one side, and I did that on purpose. So let's put our card together. So now let's show you all the cards that I made using the stamp set. This is the one that we just did just now. And I want to show you how I did it last night, because I always like to do it first to make sure that I like all the colors. So the difference between last night and today's was last night I did the top with the embossed with the brick and mortar embossing folder, and I took a black marker and kind of made sure that you could really see the swallow's eyes. And this one, of course, I just did the splatter. And I left the eyes the way they were. So they kind of both look different in different ways. I don't know which one you prefer. I like them both. So this was the one we did today, just now that I showed you. And I also did this the exact same way, but in different colors. So I did it using the card base is Pear Pizzazz, and I did mint macaron on the bottom, Pear Pizzazz in the middle, and then Old Olive on the very top there. Same gingham ribbon, same way I did the swallows. In this I embossed with the Tasteful Textiles embossing folder, which I think is retiring. I'm not sure. So this one, if you want that, get that before the end of April. The new catalog comes out May 1st. And then I did one a little bit differently using Daffodil Delight Mango Melody. And I use a different die aside from the swallows. I use the stem and branches and the blossoms dies from the actual stamp set, just to add something different. They are, again, if I pull out my dies here, I have them on a magnet sheet now, but this is the stem and these are the blossoms. And I cut out the stem, the entire stem, and I only use this portion. So I cut it right here, and then I had 2 stems to work with because I just needed a small stem to fit this side. But there's a different way of using the stems and the swallows together. So I will put all the cards here again. These, of course, are the same on top, but using different techniques. I'm going to put that higher so you can see all the cards. There are all the cards we did using the Soaring Swallows stamp set with its matching dies. I hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something. If you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. I'd love it if you did. The subscribe button is on the bottom right hand side. And if you live in Canada and don't yet have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and would like to order anything or have any questions and want to learn some classes, I do classes with Zoom links. Just comment below that you're interested so I could add you to my email list. Thanks for watching, everyone. Happy stamping!